Welcome to our kitchen oasis. Today I'm going to show you how to make marmalade. It's probably easier than you think. You can control the amount of the peel, size of the peel, sweetness, bitterness, or sourness of the marmalade. So you can make custom-made marmalade just the way you like it. I'm going to explain how. Now I am making the marmalade. I've got these beautiful oranges from my friend's garden. There are 6 of them and it's about 1 kilogram. I have 800 grams of sugar, 500 milliliter of water, and juice of 2 limes. Now I'm going to peel the oranges. You can see the orange bit and the white pith. I'm aiming sort of at the end of this orange bit. If you like the bitter flavor, you can have more pith because that's the source of the bitterness. But if you don't like the bitterness, you can peel it thinner, really get the orange bit only. As you can see, it has a little bit of white bits, but not hugely. After peeling, I put the peel in the pot and I'm going to pour cold water enough to just cover most of it, and then start boiling in high heat for 5 minutes. After boiling for 5 minutes or so, you drain this and discard the water, and you repeat the process. Put the peel back and pour the water. Again, just to cover the peel, and then you boil it another 5 minutes. While I'm boiling the peel, I'm going to cut the flesh. I'm going to show you how. Well, first of all, I just get rid of the pith. We don't need this. So I just peel like that. Now it's nice and bare. I cut in quarter, like so, and you will need the seeds, so keep the seeds because that's where pectin is from, and pectin is the substance that makes the jam or marmalade thick. And cut into small pieces like that. And then put it in a dish. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a dish like this so that it catches all the juice, and chop off top and bottom. And cut the skin until the flesh is showing like this. So you put the knife by the membrane, and then take the flesh out. You keep doing this. Now the membrane and flesh are separate, and this membrane has a fair bit of flesh and juice, and we are going to use it. After another 5 minutes, I'm going to drain it. The prep is done. After boiling, I'm going to slice those peel. You can just slice as thick or thin, just as you like. I like it really thin, so I'm going to slice it fairly thinly like this. Okay, I have chopped all the peel. Now I'm going to add the flesh. I cut it this way, but remember I showed you that you can just do the flesh, and remember the membrane. I told you that this is not going to be wasted, so it goes in, and along with the water. Now we have to boil this. Now I am going to boil it before we add the sugar. After boiling 5 minutes or so, I'm just going to remove this membrane. So this is when you do the segment only flesh method. This is the time to remove the membrane, and I mostly did this method with just cutting the flesh with membrane. So with that method you don't have to do anything, but I just have this one membrane. I just put it aside. I will still need it. I am going to add roughly half of this sugar. This is a lot of sugar. And then start the heat, probably medium heat so that it doesn't burn. Mix it. Like this, and then leave it medium heat for 5 minutes or so and see how it goes. After 5 minutes or so, the sugar's melted and this membrane is nice and cool. So what I'm going to do is, I put the membrane and all, so I don't have to usually do this, but if you prefer to have a finer texture, especially if you're using grapefruit and things, you might want to remove the membrane. And then now I am going to squeeze it as much as possible. I'll show you. It gets really slimy, and that's pectin. So you don't want to waste this, because that makes the marmalade thicker. So just really squeeze it and just put any fibrous bits and liquid, slimy liquid, into the pot. I'm going to add half of the remaining sugar. The reason why I leave half of the remaining sugar is I may not use this. So I have a taste, and if it's not sweet enough, or if it doesn't thicken enough, I am going to use it. But if I can get away, I'm not going to use it. And I'm going to add the juice, lime or lemon. This will give a nice tanginess to it. And just to make sure that you stir it every now and again so that it doesn't burn, but you can just cook it for an hour to 2 hours depending on how juicy the orange is. Just check it at least every 10 minutes. I have been boiling for an hour or so, checking and stirring every 10 minutes. It's a lot thicker now, and at this point I would like you to try it because you can change the flavor at this point. If you like it sour, you can add a bit more lemon juice or lime juice. If you prefer sweeter, you can add more sugar. And I like it very zesty like this, but if you prefer less zesty, then you probably add the water at the beginning. Now I'm going to check how set it is. This is a dish I put in the freezer for a while, so it's nice and cold. I just pour a little tiny bit, and that will cool the marmalade rapidly, and that will give you the idea how it is going to be when it's cooled. So it's nice and thick and it's not runny. So I think this is ready, but if you prefer thicker consistency, then you might want to add a bit more sugar and cook it further. But I think it's ready. Now I am going to show you the bottling process for preserving the marmalade. You need clean cloth and metal tongue and cloth glove or some towel to grab the hot jar. Now I have this boiling water. You just submerge the jar and the lid as well, and boil it for at least 5 minutes. After boiling for 5 minutes or so, I'm going to put this hot jar upside down, and the cloth glove is very handy here, but if you don't have something like that, you can just use the cloth to touch it. The lid, shake it well, and then place it like that. And after a little while, I'd like it to be turned upside down so that it dries inside really well with the heat. Now I'm going to bottle the marmalade. This is nice and warm still, but dry inside. And you keep the marmalade on simmer so that it still keeps fairly warm, but not burning. Now I am going to bottle it, pour it like this, and it's important to have nice warm marmalade, really hot marmalade, into the jar. And I like this jar because it's got the wide opening, so it's easy to pour. You probably pour it up until here, leave a little bit of room, and make sure this bit is clean. So I've got a tissue, and just wipe it before you put the lid on. Now I put the lid on really tightly and just let it cool. When you preserve something, please use a glass jar with the popping lid like this. And when you put the marmalade or whatever in the jar, it can still be popping like that. So this is not sealed and airtight yet, but as it cools down, it will. For example, this is I've done last week, and this is airtight and sealed properly, and if you press this button it doesn't pop, so that means it's nice and sealed. So as it cools down it will pop, and it will it goes down like that. And if it doesn't, for some reason, sometimes the temperature is not hot enough or the jar was too cold, sometimes it doesn't pop down like this. So that means you have to keep it in the fridge. While this is nice and sealed, so you can keep it in a cool, dry place. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. See you next time.